This is the Hope Not Nope podcast,
where we answer your questions and share inspirational stories to fill your soul with hope.
Our mission is to empower hope to those who have been plagued by nope.
I'm Dr. Dylan Caswell.
And I'm Brandy.
And we're here to bring you out of the nope and into hope.
Welcome to the Hope Not Nope podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Dylan, I have a question before I ask this question. If you had to choose between Cocoa Puffs, Reese's Puffs, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch, what are you going with?
And we're not looking at like nutritional content, just like purely out of desire. Which one am I choosing?
If there were three in front of you and it was just like, here, Dylan, have a bowl of cereal.
Reese's Puffs, Reese's Puffs, what? Reese's Puffs, Reese's Puffs, what?
Great, because this episode is...
Because, like, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Cocoa Puffs, like, why would you do that when you get to have Cocoa Puffs with peanut butter puffs?
Fair.
Like, that's Reese's Puffs.
Yeah.
So, like, one is eliminated.
Okay, I didn't even think of that.
And then it's between the other two, in which it's, like, competitive, but, like, peanut butter chocolate? Like, come on.
Come on. Well, it's good news because the person who submitted this question's name is Reese. So that's why I thought of the question.
Nice. I like it.
So Reese says, I want to dunk a basketball, but every time I try, I get stuffed by the rim.
Same.
Do you have any tips for me to be able to reach this goal? And do you have any tips for you to be able to reach this goal?
Reese, I'm just going to tell you my training plan. Because I'm right there with you. To the point that last year, my end of the summer goal was to dunk a basketball. And I thought I did, because I dunked it, and it was an alley-oop. And we celebrated, was excited. We were getting ready to post about it. And I was like, let's just measure the hoop to make sure that it's actually 10 feet, because this has been a lifelong goal of mine. And it seemed like it was 10 feet, but I just want to make sure. And it was freaking 9'11".
Yeah.
It was 1 inch away. So yeah, I have to do a little bit more work, because at 10 foot, I get stuffed by the rim. So yes, I will be able to give you some good tips on this one.
And for those who are like me, maybe you'll be able to touch the net with these tips.
Hey-o. So I'm going to come back to the 9'11", because one answer is lower the rim. But
fair.
We'll talk about a practical strategy of why, because I'm going to assume the goal is a 10-foot hoop that you're dunking on a regulation size rim with a regulation size basketball.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to address this goal.
No dunking a tennis ball and calling it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So first thing, we want to start creating, we'll call it an athlete power profile, because that's what jumping is. That's what a vertical is. It's how much force can you produce over a short period of time to cover a distance to rise above the ground and dunk a ball. So power is force times distance divided by the change in time. To create more power, you have to create more force, right? If we're going to create more distance, we'd say, Reese, just jump higher, right? Now the numerator's higher, so you can have more of a power output. But that's what you're trying to do is, well, I'm trying to jump higher, but I can't just jump higher. So what do I need to do? Well, you need to be able to create more force in a less amount of time. You need to have a higher numerator with a lower denominator, and then your power output increases, which means you're going to be able to jump higher. So we want to create a force profile on that, right? So the difference, or what we need to look at, is we can't really change distance too much. We will a little bit, and just remind me later to get back to that point. But force is something that we can change and should change in order to reach this goal. Force production, or work, is force times distance. How do you produce more force? Well, you have to train the neuromuscular system to be able to do that. Jumping is how much force do you put into the ground, and then how much does that force into the ground return back into your system that allows you to elevate, right? So we have to start looking at your movement system and say, where is the limiting factor in your force production? For me, hands down, it is my hamstrings. My hamstrings, when we looked at this, we're putting about similar force production as my rotator cuff. That shouldn't happen. The hamstrings are a much bigger, powerful muscle than a dynamic stabilizer of the rotator cuff. So that keyed me into, I need to do intentional hamstring work. And I thought I was, for a while because I do a lot of deadlifts and a lot of those types of things. Squatting is not a hamstring dominant movement, it's an adductor or groin dominant movement. But I was like, oh, I'm deadlifting, so I'm getting my hamstrings. Well, my lower back is much stronger than my hamstrings, so my lower back was taking a lot of that. It's like, dang, I need to really isolate my hamstrings more to get a better force production, better neuromuscular type contraction, better conditioning. So I started doing things like single leg bridge with a slider, doing controlling the eccentric part and then the concentric part being really fast. Started doing single leg elevated bridges where again the concentric is really fast, the eccentric is slow. Started doing Nordic hamstring curl variations where yes, you're using the low back and the glutes, but you're getting a lot of hamstring in and out of that. But for me, that was my limiting factor was the hamstrings. For an athlete that wants to dunk, it could be the quad, it could be the quad tendon, it could be the hamstring tendons, it could be the glutes and the glute tendons. Why that? Because the tendons store elasticity, which helps us and become bouncy. It could be the calf, and we'll just the calf complex or the Achilles. Like something in there probably needs to be trained in order for you to have better force output. So that's one component of it is just what muscles need to be worked on to develop that. And then the second component I would look at is looking at are you good at creating explosive power or are you a bouncy athlete that you produce more power as you get more steps in? So, for example, a vertical jump versus a running vertical jump. Both are moving vertically, but they're both looking at a little bit different thing, right? If I'm just flat footed and I'm going up, I'm just testing pure explosive power. That's an area that I struggle in. Reese, maybe you're listening to this and you're like, dude, bro, same. Like, I'm there with you. Like, I rely on elasticity to my tendons. I rely on the recoil in order to help me jump higher. So if I can like run and get some more jumps in, it actually helps me to spring higher when I go for the dunk. For some people, they're like, I just want one step because I don't have the elasticity. So I would look at this and say, which spectrum of that are you on? If you have the explosive power, balance it out with elasticity training, which is our true plyometrics, right? Plyometrics is that repetitive recoil jump, spring back up. Jump training is not plyometrics. Like jump training, plyometrics fall into jump training, but plyometrics are not jump training. Jump training could just be like you're sitting on a box and you rock forward and you jump up as high as you can. And then you come back down, reset, and then do that again. That's jump training. Plyometrics is the repeat, hit the ground, spring off of it. So which of those are you proficient in and which one are you lacking? Keep the one that's proficient, and then balance out the one that you're weaker in. So for me, I'm a springy athlete. There's very specific tests that we use with our athletes to do it, but you can generally just say like, hey, go for a run. And if the person's like bouncing and looks like a gazelle, they're an elastic athlete. If their feet are slapping against the ground, it sounds like bricks hitting the track. Well, they don't have the elasticity. They might have good power, like explosive power that one time created, which again, like I'm the elastic athlete, Brandy's the very explosive, like one rep kind of power athlete. So our training looks a little bit different with that. I'll pause there to see if there's any questions, see if you're still with me.
I'm with you.
Still with me. So find the areas that are deconditioned, get them strong. Figure out in your power profile, are you an elastic athlete? Are you more of just this like one rep power based athlete? Whichever one you feel less proficient in, train that one for a little while. Third thing is getting back. Well, sorry, there's gonna be four. So three is measure your vertical, right? Like so many times you're like, oh man, I got stuff by the rim. Is it the same hoop? Is it the same? What's the weather like? Like, is there more atmospheric pressure? Is there more wind? Like, does wind resistance matter? Yeah, when we're talking about like a little bit extra to get over the rim and you got wind like pushing down at you or coming at your face that you're jumping up and the wind's slapping you this way, it's small, it's a small percentage, but every little bit counts when you're getting stuff by the rim and want to get over it. So I do think that that matters, but you like establish what your vertical is easy ways to do this. You don't need to have a fancy combine vertical jump force platform or the tags that you're hitting. Get some chalk on your fingertips, reach up to the wall, keep your elbows straight, mark that height. That's your starting height. Now, standing there, jump up, chalk on your hands, like lifting chalk, not a like sidewalk
I think
chalk,
both would.
but both can work. I mean, like don't jump up with it and then right on the
Oh,
ball.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
like
Have it on your fingertips.
yes, like coat your fingertips in the chalk.
Yeah.
So reach up, grab the height, that's your baseline, jump, hit it again. The distance between those 2 points is
Hmm.
what your vertical is. So now you have a test that you can retest to see, is my vertical improving?
Hmm.
If your vertical doesn't improve and you go try to dunk again, the same thing's going to happen. You're going to get stuffed by the rim. So now it gives you an idea of like, when should I go test dunking again because my vertical has improved,
Hmm.
right? Or it can let you know like, how far away am I from being able to do this? So this is where the distance part comes back into the conversation.
Yes. That's what I was supposed to remind you about,
Yes,
but you remembered.
I remember. So you have the establish of what your vertical is, and you know that you're getting stuffed by the rim. But what height can you dunk on that you don't get stuffed by the rim? Because then that will tell you how much do you need to put onto your vertical. I got stuffed at 10 foot. I did not get stuffed at 9 foot 11 inches. So how much do I need to put on my vertical? The 1 inch,
Hmm.
right? And now I have a test retest that I can use. And yes, it depends on where you're getting stuffed by the rim. If
Hmm.
you're like top ball hitting the bottom of the rim, you're going to have to put on more than 1 inches for your vertical. But for me, it was like I was getting the ball just like slightly above the rim and the
Hmm.
bottom part is hitting it and then falling off. So for me, it's 1 inch. But yes, there are some variability in it, but it gives you an aiming point.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is that lower the rim down and see what's the height that you can dunk at and practice there for a while. I think of when I was younger, like dunking in the driveway. I put it, 8 feet, 8.5 feet, and then every summer I could raise it up. And I wasn't doing a specific jump training program. I wasn't doing specific strengthening. I was just seeing what dunks can I do at what height? Like
Hmm.
8 foot, 360 dunks, trying to go through the legs, alley oops to each other. Like by having fun and practicing it, you're working on your jump training, which is then going to improve and have specificity to the task. So, like, yeah, the goal is 10 foot, but like, hey, at 9.5, can you just go and have some fun and do some like wild dunks
Hmm.
that you're increasing motivation, you're feeling empowered, you're seeing success of this, and then raise it up to 9 foot 8 inches.
Hmm.
Do it again. Okay, now get to 9 foot 10 and then just keep building it up through that where you're seeing the success of it happening. It becomes more of a potential that this can happen.
Yeah. You could also maybe start at a trampoline park and do the dunking at the trampoline park. But there's a reason why, like, if you get a group of teenagers at a trampoline park, the things that they go to are the basketball hoop to dunk or like dodgeball.
Yeah,
And I think like clearly Reese still has that like kind of spirit in him.
yeah,
And so go build up your confidence at a trampoline park, then go build up your confidence on a 9'5" hoop or whatever it may be. And I think just like learning the actual technique of it, but then also having like the fun and joy of like dunking, even if it is a little shorter,
yeah,
could really like fuel you
yeah.
to get back to training and get after it.
Yeah, and Reese, if you're getting stuffed by the rim, you're right there.
Yeah.
Like there's still some work that has to be done. And again, it depends on where you're getting stuffed by the rim.
But it's not like
But
me. Like I
yeah,
can hardly
yeah,
hit the net half the time when I jump. And so you're not like if someone's listening to this and they want to dunk, but they're where I'm at, like I'm not saying you can't do it, but like you have a longer duration of work than like
yeah,
Reese who's already getting stuff by the rim.
yeah, absolutely. And to throw some more practical tips into it, how often do you need to train jumping? Like so many times we see athletes that they're just not able to do it because they're fatigued, because they're
Mm.
doing too much work, and we have to pull them back a little bit. Some athletes are not doing enough work in this domain to help them. Like at a minimum, jump training should be done twice a week.
Hmm.
And what does that look like? Max effort jumps, low rep counts, like 2 rounds, 3 rounds, maybe 3 to 5 reps, where each of those reps you're jumping as high as you can. Because when you go to jump or when you go to dunk, you're not like doing a lazy jump, like you're exploding as much as
Yeah.
you can. So practice that, and twice a week is the minimal effective dose, right? And then we don't want to go overboard with that. So at
Hmm.
least 2 times a week, but you don't need to go crazy and doing it 5 to 7 days a week. like that might be fatiguing your neural system more than helping it, which can
Mhm.
inhibit your force output just from a fatigue standpoint.
Mhm.
So I think
Well,
that wraps
yeah,
it up.
I think so. Like, Reese, take these tips and then send a picture of you dunking
Get a
to us.
little Tykes hoop and go Jordan from the foul line and rip that plastic hoop apart.
That'd be a great
Yeah,
idea.
if you
What's
got kids or neighborhood kids, have them go stand right in front of that rim and just jump and slam on that 2 foot little Tykes hoop just to build the confidence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But in all honesty, like we want to see you dunk, so like send us the video
Yeah.
because you're going to accomplish it with these tips.
Oh, 100%. And Reese, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Like we're getting closer and closer, and
Maybe by the end of this
maybe
summer.
by the end of this summer. And I will say, what happened last summer, I had the goal and I did not intentionally train.
Yeah, you didn't have the
I
framework.
didn't have the framework.
Yeah.
Well, I knew the framework, but we were like working on other things, like workout wise,
Yeah.
that like jumping and sprinting weren't taking the main part of it.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I haven't jumped this week. I should probably go jump. Where now, very intentionally, I'm sprinting 2 days a week and I'm doing specific jump training 2 days a week
Hmm.
because, oh, getting into hope stories, I had a hope story like in my brain, and then I was like, wow, I might switch it because it flows better with this
The
episode.
switcheroo
Switcheroo
dunkaroo. All
dunkaroo.
right. Switcheroo
Dunkaroo.
dunkaroo. Exactly.
So people listening, you've probably heard or know that like generally a mechanic has like one of the worst cars
Hmm.
because they're spending so much time working on other people's cars, right? So it's just like there's kind of slips through.
Hmm.
And so my hope story is that like for so long with like this human performance knowledge and sports performance knowledge, like almost all my time and effort has gone into programming for other people, for athletes, for like the people that we work with. And it's like, yeah. And then it'd get to like my workout or our workouts, and it would be like, yep, general idea of what we're gonna do, but we're gonna like piece this workout together and get the done. And by all means, like it worked,
Hmm.
but like we didn't have a lot of data on the workout. And oftentimes it'd be like, yeah, let's go like get 30 minutes of a workout in to get something in. And what we haven't done this week is these movements, so let's make sure it's in there. And that's a good place because like we have enough knowledge framework to be able to create it on the
Hmm.
spot. But actually like taking the time to sit down and program out like a 3 month cycle like for myself and for Brandy of like what are the things that we need to work on? Like let's use all the sports science we're using with all the other athletes that we use and use that with ourselves and make sure that like that's happening. But like the progress of that has been awesome and staying disciplined. Like I used to very much like work out at 90% intensity all the time. Like
Hmm.
even if the plan was like 60% for the day, I was like, you know what? I'm here. Let's go. And I'm like staying disciplined to like, hey, if we're doing a three sets of 12, we're gonna stay at 55% of your 1 rep max. And the beauty in this, like talking about the nervous system being fried, is that my nervous system has not been fried.
Yeah.
I've been able to come back the next day and put more effort into where my goals are. Like my goal this summer is to, by the end of the summer, is to dunk, right? Not to PR my deadlift, not to PR my squat, not to go like be in a fitness competition
Hmm.
and try to podium at that, but like to dunk.
Hmm.
So like here's a framework that supports that goal while keeping the other areas that I'm strong in like maintained.
Hmm.
And like having that and being disciplined with it, it's just been really fun
Hmm.
to like experience that for ourselves with a very dialed in
Yeah.
program.
And I feel very blessed that I get to partake in that
Hmm.
because I'm part of the program.
Yeah. And I want to like make sure it's not from like oh, we're programming now for ourselves because we have the knowledge. Like, no, we intentionally set time aside
Yeah.
to say, like, hey, like all of our athletes are having phenomenal success. Why don't we take that same framework
Yeah.
and apply it into our life to make sure that we have that down and get to enjoy that as well?
It's been a great reminder that when you have a heart of service, that doesn't mean that you can't serve yourself as
Yeah.
well. And I think that we serve a lot of people, specifically with the sports knowledge that we have. And now we're serving ourselves too because we were intentional to do that, which I think is just so cool. And I'm just echoing that hope story. I don't have much to add, but like it's been awesome. And I think it's created less of a barrier to work out. Like we haven't really had the like, oh, I don't really want to go work out because I can't really think right now of what to do, or well, let's just put it off and like let's just do a light workout or whatever. Like no, we have the program and it makes us like excited going into it. So much so that I think we are having even more fun while we're working out too. And it was great. One of our friends was over recently and they just hopped on the bike while we were working out and just seeing like they were like, you guys are crushing it, great job, and just their encouragement and like loving us, but then us being able to like be joyful and enjoying what we were doing while still working hard is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I guess a little smaller story just because we were talking about jumping. My little hope story is that I'm able to jump. You
Nice.
know, like
Yeah.
10 years ago, I wasn't able to jump because of complex regional pain syndrome and the pain that I was in. And I had a lot of fear related to most movement in
Yeah.
general, but jumping was one of like the biggest things that like I was afraid of. And so I like it's so cool that I'm able to jump rope or do double unders, that I'm able to broad jump and do vertical jumping and things like that. Like 10 years ago, I thought that I'd never be able to for the rest of my life. And so it's cool that this is part of like our programming and I'm getting to do that on a regular basis and that I don't really think about it. And I'm just doing it because my body is able. And so it's pretty cool.
Jump, jump.
Don't jump around. Jump,
I figured we
jump.
started with the Reese's Puff song. We'd end it with House Band Jump Around.
Perfect. Jump, jump, jump around. Thank you for the question and for the cool name. And now I kind of wish we had Reese's Puffs downstairs. But we do have Cocoa Puffs. So what if we put PB Fit into it and made PB Fit like milk to go on top of it? It's not Reese's Puff, but it's close.
I'm not opposed.
All right.
I'm not opposed.
That will be our lunch today. Just
Yes.
kidding.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Have a great week. And remember, every day is not just a day to be hopeful, but an opportunity to become hope.
The Hope Not Know podcast is meant for educational, informational, and personal development purposes only and does not constitute any health or medical advice. If you're looking for specific advice, connect with us to work with a Hope coach. The Hope Not Know podcast shall not be liable or responsible for any loss or damage allegedly arising from any information or suggestions in this podcast.